It's 5 p.m. You just woke up from a nap, opened your laptop, and promised yourself you'd finally finish that project. But then a notification pings. You decide to check just one more post. An hour later, you're still scrolling and work hasn't even started. This cycle of "I'll start in 5 minutes" can repeat for days, only coming to a halt when you collide with a rigid external deadline, like an exam or a presentation due tomorrow morning. As that clock runs out, your brain shifts into a state of panic. This triggers a massive release of adrenaline, forcing you into a hyper-focused sprint to get the job done. The final product might suffer in quality, and you'll likely lose a night of sleep, but the sheer stress of the deadline ensures the task is completed and submitted. While it's an exhausting way to live, this form of procrastination is ultimately survivable because the panic system acts as a biological safety net for anything with a due date. The danger changes when we look at deadline-free goals. No one will fire you if you delay that business, or ignore your health, or stay in a toxic relationship. Because these goals lack external pressure, the panic failsafe never activates. This chart shows our reality, a grid where each square represents 1 week of life. We act as if time is infinite, but these squares vanish in real time. Without a deadline, years slip away without a single square used for what matters most. The lack of a clear due date creates a persistent illusion that there is always a tomorrow available to finally begin the work. Procrastination acts as a silent thief of your life's potential, consuming the very weeks you need to pursue your most vital, deadline-free goals. To stop this theft, we have to look past our habits and examine the biological conflict happening inside the human brain. This map shows 2 distinct systems competing. In the front is the prefrontal cortex, your rational center responsible for long-term planning and difficult logic. Deep inside is the limbic system, caring only about instant pleasure. It only understands what feels good right now. Every time you sit down to work, these 2 regions enter a literal tug-of-war for control over your behavior. Most people assume they lack ambition, but the reality is a biological mismatch. You are asking your rational mind to win a fight against an ancient system hardwired for immediate comfort. We tend to blame the tools around us, smartphones, social media, or streaming services, for our inability to stay focused on a task. But technology is merely the latest pacifier. People were finding ways to delay their work long before the internet existed. The distractions change, but the underlying drive to delay remains the same. The real culprit is the internal trigger. The urge to check your phone is actually a flight response, an attempt to escape the negative emotions, like anxiety or boredom, that arise when you think about the work ahead. This behavior stems from a failed emotional regulation strategy, a moment where the brain seeks an immediate escape from negative feelings, like anxiety or perfectionism. To bypass this emotional flight response, we can use a behavioral hack called the 10-minute rule. When the urge to distract yourself hits, tell yourself you can have the distraction, but only after a 10-minute delay. This window allows the initial emotional spike to subside and gives the prefrontal cortex time to regain control. You can further reduce anxiety through timeboxing. This involves looking at your calendar and assigning specific, rigid blocks of time for every task you need to accomplish. Crucially, this includes scheduling guilt-free blocks for play. When you've officially scheduled an hour for gaming or social media, the distraction loses its power because it's no longer an escape from the work. It's part of the plan. These rigid boundaries provide the psychological safety needed to stop your brain from viewing your work as a threat it needs to flee. For massive projects that feel overwhelming, commit to doing only the first 5 minutes of the work. Breaking that initial friction is usually enough to trick the brain into maintaining momentum. Once you've started, the emotional barrier drops, and the work becomes much easier to continue. Finally, look back at these squares. This grid represents the only non-renewable asset you possess. By mastering your internal triggers and rebuilding your impulse control, you move off of autopilot. You gain the power to intentionally decide exactly how you will spend your remaining squares.